Doing a live. I've had some very good questions and some very good topics sent to me via email. And the biggest thing that I've noticed that you guys have been sending to me is the fear of approaching women. And I think it's interesting because that's never been a problem for me. And I'll explain later on in this video why that was never a problem for me. But what I want to talk about is how do you crush your fear of approaching women? How exactly do you crush that fear of approaching a woman? And the way I want to start with it is just asking you, I'm just curious, when you're afraid of approaching a woman, what actually goes through your mind? So before you even see the woman, before you go anywhere to interact around women or with women, what is the thought or the thoughts that goes through your mind? Are you thinking, I hope I don't run into a woman that I find attractive? I hope that I do run into a woman that I find attractive. What is the thought process that goes through your mind? Because when you can really become aware of the thought processes that goes through your mind when you're approaching a woman or you're in a situation or an environment where there are attractive women that you do want to see, talk to, approach, whatever. What do you tell yourself? Because one thing I notice is with a lot of guys is they get outside of themselves and they tell themselves all these negative things about their successes or failures with women. And what I mean by that is they already before they even see the woman, before they even approach the woman, they already are telling themselves ideas and limiting beliefs that do not align with what they actually want. So they want the woman, they want to approach the woman, quote unquote, but they are already telling themselves that the woman is out of my league. The woman will never give me a chance. She has a boyfriend. She has a a husband. She won't find me attractive. She'll think that I'm stupid. She'll think that I'm too short. She'll think that I'm this and that. And when you're already telling yourself those things before you even get into the fight, meaning approaching a woman, seeing the woman, being in an environment where women are at, if you're already telling yourself all these negative thoughts and beliefs that are not even real, that you haven't even challenged, then of course you're not going to succeed with women. Of course you're going to be afraid to approach women because you already told yourself the negative thoughts that will always keep you stuck. Think about that. I don't know if you guys watch boxing or maybe watch football, but think about this. Do you really believe, even if these guys are nervous, right? Sorry about that. Even if these guys are nervous, like Tyson, he used to always say that before he even got into the ring, yeah, he may have been a little nervous, but his training, everything up into the fight, he told himself that I'm going to annihilate this person. He had a strong self belief. And he also had a really good mentor, coach, Customato, right? That instilled in those positive beliefs that he can accomplish anything, he can achieve anything that he wanted to do. And what happened? He ended up achieving and accomplishing everything that he set his mind to. So, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to the guys that are afraid to approach women? What that means is, where the fuck are these thoughts coming from that you keep telling yourself that are limiting you in succeeding with women? Are these thoughts coming from you? Are they coming from other YouTubers that don't know what the fuck they're talking about? Are they coming from other people or guys that you know that have failures with women and they share that with you and you take on that belief, even though it's not your belief, even though it's not your experience, where do you get that from? Where do you take that from? You got to really think about that. You have to challenge your beliefs and you have to be more aware of why. Why do you believe the way you believe? And like I said before, you may say, like, well, I have an experience because the women I walk up to, they shut me down, they ghost me, they talk to me like shit, they don't give me the time of day. Maybe it's because of how you are presenting yourself based on the beliefs that you have. Because here's the thing, your beliefs will create the energy, the feelings, and the emotions that causes you to act a certain way. So if you're acting a certain way that turns a woman off or she's not interested in you, then guess what that does? This is what it does, right? What it does is it keeps telling you in your nervous system that, hey, it's true. Women aren't interested in me. Women are out of my league. Women are this, women are that. Only because of the thoughts that you already had, right? You already had these predetermined thoughts and beliefs and ideas. And so what happened is you took action on those thoughts, beliefs, and ideas. And those thoughts, beliefs, and ideas were disempowering that caused you to take the wrong action. So you can't blame the woman. You can't really blame anybody but yourself. But I want you to understand that you have to reprogram how you think about this. You have to really reprogram how you think about women approaching, because I hope you understand this. The guys that are watching this video right now, I want you to understand that there are women out there that are more afraid to talk to you. They're more shy than you are. They hope that you accept them. They hope that you don't turn them down. Do you guys know that? Do you guys know that? I want you to give me a thumbs up if you know that. If you don't know that, give me a thumbs up and write in the comments that there are women out there. You may see a woman and say, hey, she's out of my league. I don't think that she will like me. She may think I'm too short. She may think I'm too ugly. I'm too dark. I'm too light. But here's the thing, why do you think that women have so many hair care products? They have so many uh, makeup lines. They have so many things that helps them feel beautiful and good enough for a man. I want you to think about that. Some people will say, well, it's because they're competing with each other. Hey, maybe they're competing with each other because they want the man that maybe Susie or Becky or Kimberly has. Maybe they're trying to improve themselves because they're not trying to necessarily show off to the other woman, but maybe they're trying to compete because they want the guy that the guy ironically is afraid to talk to them. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about that? And the reason why I say this, man, because here's the thing, if you are already afraid to approach a woman and you don't understand the reasons why, if you luck up and you get a woman and she gives you the time of day, guess what? What's going to happen is everything else after that is going to trickle down and end up being worse than you expected. It's going to end up being worse than you expected because how you start the relationship, how you start dating, everything from the beginning, it adds up on to everything else. So the phases of you getting your shit together, just yourself in general, right? If your thought process is already negative, disempowering when it comes to dating and women, guess what? It goes into when you start dating women. And then it goes into you get into a relationship. Maybe you get defensive when she asks you a simple question. Maybe you get very, very snoopy and nosy because you're insecure about yourself. Oh, am I really good enough for her? Why does she choose me and not Johnny down the block? I don't know. And then all of that shit starts to bubble up. Even, like I said, even if you got a good, even if you how can I put this? Even if you lucked up and you got the woman that you found that was attractive, but deep inside you have these insecurities and you have these beliefs that are disempowering, it will show up later on. It may not show up when she gives you the time of day, but it will show up later on only because after all of that is settled down, shit always rises to the top. And when shit rises to the top, she sees that, she starts treating you differently, and then you wonder, see, I was right. I knew women are like this, I knew women are like that. I shouldn't have said anything. Red pill all the way. And you guys that know what pill is, you know what I'm talking about. But you start to blame the woman for your shit and how she's treating you. But if you go back to how you initially started dating in the relationship, it goes back to that first domino. But going back to topic about crushing the fear of approaching women, this is the thing that always worked for me. And it's not for everybody. I understand that. And I'll talk to you about how to fix that. But with me, you got to understand that when I was younger, man, I'm talking about 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I always, how can I put this without? Let's just say that cousins and female friends of the family, they always had friends that were younger, my age. They were attractive, they were beautiful, they were girls or whatever. Homeboys that would have cousins or sisters or whatever. I always was around that environment, meaning, hey, don't get me wrong now. I hang out with my homeboys, but the point I'm trying to make is being around an attractive woman was never something that was a shock to me because the women in my family were beautiful. My mother, my sister, my cousins, these women were beautiful. So it was nothing new to me. And then the other women or girls that I knew when I was younger, because of family members, friends, and shit like that, I never was afraid to talk to an attractive woman. When I got older, the same thing. Because here's the thing, I never put a woman on a pedestal. When you interact with an attractive woman, or when you're younger, when you're a teenager, shit like that, when you interact with a girl that's younger, that's your age, I want to make sure I'm not saying the wrong thing on here because this is YouTube. But when you're around that and you see how they act, and you also understand that they're just a human being, just like me. Yes, a woman, but what makes this woman so special just because she has something in between her legs and breast? Nothing. And so my mentality as I grew up was I'm not after the pussy. I'm not after the titties and the sex. I mean, yeah, as a man, hey, I enjoy it. However, I want to see how you really are. What do you like outside of the makeup? What do you like outside of putting yourself together when it comes to your hair, your nails, your toes, all that stuff? I want to know who you really are because sex, pussy, hey, that comes so fucking easy. That was my mentality, guys. That was my mentality. If that comes so easy, what the fuck else do you have to offer me? What do you have to offer me? Because the sex and the titties, the ass, the pussy, all that shit, that has no effect on me because it means nothing to me. I don't put value on that, but I do put value on how you are as a person. How do you treat me? And that mentality, it cut through all the bullshit. When I was a teenager, before I joined the Marine Corps, when I joined the Marine Corps, when I traveled all over the world, the Philippines, Japan, Taiwan, it always stayed with me to where a woman could sense that. She could sense that I didn't give a fuck about the extra shit. All these other guys, yeah, they could try to get sex with you, whatever. I want more from you. I want to know what's in your mind, your intellect. Can you converse well? Do you have goals? Do you have dreams? Do you have shit going for yourself? And so that thought process alone at a young age, that helped me to develop into the man I am today, where I look for more than just the sex, just the beauty. Because here's the thing, the beauty will always fade. The beauty will always fade. Now, you have Claire Huxtable, she's in her 60s. She looks beautiful. She's attractive. But the point I'm trying to make is that woman, that girl that you are attracted to right now, that you are afraid to talk to, that you fear approaching, one day she's not going to look the same. One day she is not going to look the same. Then what? Are you still going to be afraid to approach her? Are you still going to be afraid to approach her when she doesn't look the same? But here's the funny thing, the thing that doesn't change. Now, some women, they improve over time, hopefully. But here's the thing that doesn't change, who they are as a person, the core of who they are. And a lot of times, guess what? The core of who a woman is, when it improves over time, even though the looks fade, that is what creates her value. So earlier when I said, hey, I'm looking for exactly who are you as a person? What are you inside? Because I know that is what I value, who you are as a person, not your looks. But that's what happens with you guys. And I get it. You have social media, you have women that, they may look attractive and you see them shut down another guy, or you see them talk crazy to another guy and you think that, well, that could be me. I don't want to be shut down. I don't want her to say anything wrong to me. But the thing is, you have to understand is you're valuing the wrong thing, and you've been taught to value the wrong thing. You've been taught to value the wrong thing. And you've also been taught to put yourself on the back burner and put her on the pedestal. Put yourself in the pits and put her on the pedestal. And this is what I mean by that. What I mean by that is every woman is special. Every woman deserves the big wedding. Every woman deserves to be treated the right way. Every woman deserves to be taken care of. You've been taught and told all these things, but the question you got to ask yourself is why? Why have you been taught to believe these things, and why do you believe these things? It gets deeper. I know you may be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But I'm telling you, it's deeper than just the looks, guys. It's much deeper than just the looks. It's what you've been taught, what you've been indoctrinated in believing, that, hey, you know, you shouldn't be mean to her. Don't be yourself. You got to be nice. When you see that woman, you buy her a drink, you take care of her, you show her the best life. And I'm not bashing women. I'm not saying be a bad guy. I'm not saying it at all. Understand that. What I'm saying is you have to ask yourself, why are you believing what you're believing, and why are you doing what you're doing? Now, I'm not trying to get too deep unless you want me to, but what I will say, and going back to the general, the basic topic to begin with, is this is what I want you to think about the next time you approach a woman and you have fear. The next time you approach a woman you have fear, I want you to think about this. I'm not trying to be funny. I want you to think about this. And this should eliminate your fear, right? When she wakes up in the morning, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Holly Berry. I don't care if it's Mariah Carey. God damn, this fucking glass right here. Hold on, y'all. Oh shit. Ain't that a bitch? Nah, that's nails. So I don't care who it is. Every woman that wakes up in the morning, her breath stinks. It's not going to smell like gum unless she puts gum in her mouth and chews it or brush her teeth or gargle with um, mouthwash. That's just what it is. Every woman that wakes up in the morning, guess what they do? They go take a shit. So that same woman that you're fearing to approach, that exact same woman, her breath stunk this morning. She took a shit this morning. Maybe she was on her period this morning. You know what I'm saying? But you're putting her on a pedestal and you're putting yourself in the pits because you're not you're anything you're really putting her up there with God. You're putting the woman up there with God and you're objectifying her. And the reason why I say that is because if you're afraid of approaching a woman and you're trying to do everything right so she would approve of you, what does that sound like? For my religious people out there, what does that sound like? You want to do everything right for God, right? You want God to approve of you, right? If for my guys that are religious, like if you're not religious, it don't apply to you. But what I'm saying is think about what you're doing. You're making the woman your God just because of how you're viewing her and the fear that you have of her. Now, the other thing I want to say is you got to start dating women that are not that attractive by your standards. I'm going to say that again. You have to start dating women that are not that attractive by your standards. And the reason why I say that is you want to start normalizing the conversations you have with women. Now, I don't mean cupcake, be on the phone for two, three, 24 hours. What I'm saying is you want to not look at the beauty and how she looks. You want to start conversing with women regardless of how they look, because what that does is you start to realize, like, oh, women have more to them than just their looks. Women have more to them than just the sex. And when you start to normalize that, you'll start to not be so in fear of women that do look attractive, because now you know, like, okay, she's attractive, but she probably doesn't have a very good personality. She's attractive, but maybe she just doesn't know how to talk. And when you start to just normalize, when you start to when you start to just normalizing just talking to women that are attractive or not, it doesn't become such a big issue. You don't fear it anymore. It's just like public speaking, right? How many of y'all think that when I first started, well, I'll just say when I first started talking on camera, it was years ago, back in, I think, like 2007. So I kind of got used to it. But initially, I wasn't trying to get on camera. I wouldn't know. And then getting on a live, but hey, guess what? I started doing it, and over time, I got better at it. And that's the same thing when it comes to approaching women. Stop approaching women that just look super attractive. When you see a woman that looks attractive, say hi. If you're afraid of approaching her, just say hi. Nothing crazy, nothing special. Just say hi. And then if it's a woman that's not attractive, based on your standards, maybe spark up a conversation. I'm not saying waste her time. I'm not saying be friends with her, but just start to normalize you being able to converse with a woman regardless of how she looks, regardless of her beauty, none of that. That's what really helps. And then the other thing is you guys have to really work on yourself. You have to work on yourself, work on the insecurities, work on your confidence, and everything else will fall into place. But initially, if you want those quick wins, man, I'm telling you, you have to start conversing with women that are not that attractive. Maybe your next door neighbor, maybe the woman down the street, maybe the woman at your job. Just start conversing, because here's another thing it's going to help you with, right? Well, it's going to help you with a lot. But the biggest thing is you're going to start learning how to converse with women. So you guys would say, like, I don't know what to say to her. I get lost for words. Start conversing with women that you don't necessarily find attractive based on your standards. And when you do that, it becomes easy. It becomes second nature. You get me? You get me, right? And the other thing is, it becomes second nature, but now you start to build that confidence to say, I could talk to any woman. And when I say you can talk to any woman, you can talk to any woman. Your age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, very attractive, unattractive, American, foreign, it doesn't matter, because you start to really normalize yourself talking to women. And what that does to you, it gives you a boost of confidence. Hey, I'm not afraid to approach women anymore because I'm used to talking to all these different women, right? I'm used to understanding how they communicate. I'm starting to learn the different types of women because I'm taking my time to actually converse with them, to get to know them for who they are. And once you start to get to know women for who they are, guess what? You're not going to be afraid, right? But the other thing is, it's not such a big deal anymore. It's not a big deal anymore. And when it's not a big deal anymore, guess what? Your nervous system starts to relax. You're like, hey, I could talk to anyone. It's not a big deal anymore. And then guess what? Your confidence boosts, and then you start to work on yourself. But I believe that you should work on yourself no matter what, because a lot of times it comes from just not knowing your value, your worth. You don't know what you have to offer. But by just conversing with women, it really helps you. It really helps you. So I know it sounds like I'm all over the place, but I'm just telling you, it's nothing. It's nothing. When you've been on the other side, when you've been in my shoes, and you've worked at a gentleman's club bouncing for women, and you've been around women, and you know women, and you've dated women all around the world, it gets that much easier. And that's why I said earlier to just start conversing with women that may not be as attractive as you think they are based on your standards. What happens is, now when you do converse with a very attractive woman and she shuts you down, you don't give a fuck, because you're not worried about her looks. You're just not worried about her at all. But once you start working on yourself, that means your health, physically, mentally, whatever you got to do that you know you're lacking in your personal life, you want to work on that for yourself. You want to work on that for yourself, because when you work on that for yourself, you start to believe in yourself. If you say you're going to do something, you keep your word to it, you start to believe in yourself, and that's where the confidence comes from. That's where the self esteem comes from. And then when you do those things and you're good with yourself, then hey, you can start focusing on women. What do women like? What different types of women are they? Uh, what are the good and the bad about women? And you see it from a place of objectivity and perspective, and not from a place of poor me, all women are this way. Because if you view it from that way, it's because, I hate to say it like that, but it's almost like you have delusions, you have cognitive distortions about what dating and women are. And the only way to really resolve that is to know yourself, work on yourself. And when you're good and you know yourself and you worked on yourself, everything else falls into place, man. I know it sounds so easy. I know that it's almost like, okay, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Um, he maybe because he's attractive, women find him attractive, or he knows how to talk and this and that. One is, don't compare yourself to me, and don't compare yourself to any other man. And be yourself. Be yourself, because there's always going to be a woman that will want you for you. I've said that all the fucking time, but I'm telling you, it's true. There's always going to be a woman that wants you for you, that loves you for you, that respects you for you. And get this, there's going to be an attractive woman that may look at me and may not be attracted to me at all. And then she looks at you and she may be highly attracted to you. And you're wondering, like, well, she's not attracted to this. This is the guy that I learned from. Why does she like him, but she likes me? Hey, women know what they want, man. When it comes to a man, when it comes to somebody they're attracted to, I'm just telling you that it is what it is. But you got to have strong self belief, because as a man, I don't know if you know this or not, but as a man, you're put here to lead women. You're put here to lead yourself, to build yourself up, to be the example. And you can't be that if you're putting a woman on a pedestal. That doesn't make sense. How can you lead a woman that you're putting on a pedestal? You can't lead her, and she can't lead you. She's just going to look down at you. But you got to be able to lead yourself, take care of yourself, have strong conviction in everything that you do for yourself. And once you do that, and it grows over time, women will see that. And the crazy thing is, I want to tell you this, and you may not believe me, but the crazy thing is, women will start approaching you. They'll start looking at you. They'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" Can I buy you a drink? What's your name? You look handsome. That outfit looks nice on you. Women will tell. I'm telling you, women will do that. And so if you're not already used to talking to women and you have low self esteem, low self confidence, when that does happen, you won't be prepared. So it's best to just work on yourself now. But like I said, for you guys out there that are afraid to approach women and you really want to crush the fear of approaching women, you really got to start normalizing women. They're just humans just like you. They get up in the morning, the breath stinks, they take shits, they piss. They're just human just like you. They fart, all this shit that you do, women do as well. They just do it in private sometimes, right? And they put makeup on to look good, to be attractive, so you will be attracted to them. But you're afraid to go approach them, even though they're doing everything. So you will do it, which is ironic. But those are the things. And start normalizing you having conversations with women, regardless of how they look. Regardless of how they look, guys. Start doing that. And it's more we can talk about. I don't want to be all over the place, but that's pretty much it, man. You gotta do the basic foundation, and once you do the basic foundation and you normalize it, then everything else falls into place. And then once everything else falls into place, you'll no longer be afraid of approaching a woman. You just won't. Sounds crazy, but you won't. But if you got any questions, make sure you put them in the chat. If you caught this video late and you're watching the replay, make sure you go to Saul at saulpalmer.com. So that's SAUL at SAULPALMER.com, and send me a message. Whatever topic you want me to talk about in my next live, send me a message and I will discuss that. The better, the more the detail, the better. But other than that, that's all I got for right now. I'm about to see what these messages say. And if you're just jumping on here, I just talked about how to crush the fear of approaching women. This live, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this up so you can watch the replay. It's some valuable shit that I put in here. If you didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, or you're just now popping in, make sure that you watch the replay, take some notes, and put the shit into action. For real, put it into action, because a lot of y'all watch these videos, but you don't put anything into action. It sounds good. I may motivate you, which is great, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to guide you to get what you want out of life and when it comes to women and dating. So make sure you watch that replay, take notes. And if you got any questions, make sure you send them to Saul Palmer, or excuse me, make sure you send them to Saul at saulpalmer.com. And that is about it. That's pretty much all I got to talk about this Friday night. Other than that, you guys have a great one, and I will talk to you next week. I'm out. Let's see. The refrigerator. Oh man, that's funny. Hope everyone is having a blessed day. What's good? What's good, man? Good to see you in here, man. All right. Other than that, I will talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good one.